The movie Top Gun is considered a classic, but you may be wondering, how does that movie compare to those who were part of the actual Top Gun program? Commander Guy Snodgrass is a former Top Gun instructor who recently released his new book, Top Gun's Top 10 Leadership Lessons from the Cockpit. Here to discuss his book further and the lessons learned is Commander Snodgrass himself. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, Stephanie. Good to be with you.
Before we get to your book, you trained the top 1% of our nation's fighter pilots. What propelled you to get into this type of field and career?
You know, I think we're always drawn to something we're passionate about. When I was growing up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area of Texas, I was a Boy Scout. We would spend our summers earning funds, for our campouts and stuff by going to air shows. And so I will never forget growing up watching either the Thunderbirds for the Air Force or the Blue Angels for the Navy doing their formations overhead. And that instilled a deep passion in me to want to pursue aviation. And of course, I always thought growing up, frankly, the military was really cool and I wanted to be a part of it.
You have quite a resume, being that you led combat missions and selected as a Top Gun instructor and celebrated as one of the most skilled fighter pilots in the U.S. Navy. Briefly, what sort of lessons do you discuss in your book that would be relevant to the average American?
Yeah, I think there's so much that I learned from my experience as a Top Gun instructor that applies to everybody in our daily lives. And we're seeing that already in 2020 as we fight against the pandemic and have other stressors in our lives, right? So there's lessons in there for a wide audience, everything from such lessons as never wait to make a difference. I described some emergencies I had in the aircraft and what that taught me about staying calm under pressure. And of course, as families, we've had plenty of pressures in 2020. I also talk about the importance of always having a wingman in your life, someone, a guy or a gal who can have your back and help you out in difficult times. So I think there's 10 of these lessons that I learned that not only from amazing men and women who serve in our military, but I had a chance to work in the Trump administration, to work alongside Secretary Mattis. And I was able to demonstrate that these lessons can apply in our daily lives just as much as they can for our senior leaders.
Quite a feat there. Let me ask you, what would you like people to know about being a Top Gun instructor?
Yeah, I think the glamour in the movie is not necessarily the reality of what it's like on a day-to-day basis. We play far less beach volleyball in the real school. But the reality is, I mean, it's amazing to be part of an elite institution because you have men and women drawn from all across America who care deeply, not only about our nation, but about being the very best that they can possibly be. And so in our case, of course, that was to be the best we could be in an aircraft. And so having that kind of a background, that kind of an experience was absolutely amazing. These are people who would go to work very early in the morning, stay until late at night. They're doing this typically 6, sometimes even 7 days a week to defend America, to preserve our freedom abroad, to make sure that we are safe and secure each and every single day. So I learned a lot of great lessons that certainly applied to me during my military career, but these are lessons that I've found have resonated now that I've transitioned to the private sector, and I found that they make a lot of difference to the men and women I've crossed paths with across our country.
And lastly, where can our viewers go to learn more about you and your new book?
Sure, you can find me at Twitter at Guy Snodgrass. I've also got a website, www.guysnodgrass.com. I talk about this book, I talk about my first book as well, and I'd love to start a dialogue.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.